Did you know that research shows up to 70% of women cannot reach orgasm from intercourse alone? 70%. That is not a small number. That is most women silently wondering what they are doing wrong, blaming themselves or worse, just giving up and pretending that everything is fine. But here's what nobody is telling you. It is not your fault. The science is clear. The problem is not you. The problem is information, or rather, the complete lack of it. Today, I'm going to change that. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly why some positions work for female orgasm and why others simply don't based on real peer-reviewed science. And I'm going to give you 4 specific positions that are backed by research to dramatically improve your chances of orgasm during sex. Stay with me because this could genuinely change your relationship and your life. Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm Dr. Leela Romano, intimacy counselor and sexual health therapist with over 15 years of clinical experience working with couples and individuals on issues of intimacy, desire, and sexual well-being. Every single week, women come into my practice, women who are educated, successful, loving partners, and they whisper the same thing to me. I've never actually had an orgasm with my partner. Is something wrong with me? And every time, my answer is the same. No, absolutely not. What's missing is not your body's ability. What's missing is the knowledge of how the female body actually works and how to work with it, not against it. That's what this channel is all about. Science, clarity, no shame, no judgment, just honest, evidence-based conversation that your body deserves. So, if this is your first time here, welcome. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you. I see you, and I'm so glad you're here. Before we dive in, do me a favor. Hit that like button right now. It takes half a second, and it helps this information reach the women who need it most. Let's get started. Okay, let's talk science. And I promise to keep this as clear and relatable as possible. The single most important thing you need to understand about female orgasm is this. The clitoris is the center of everything. Now, most people think of the clitoris as that small external button. And yes, that's part of it. But here's what the anatomy textbooks often leave out. The clitoris is actually a much larger internal organ. It has 2 legs called cura and 2 bulbs that wrap around the vaginal canal internally. The entire structure can be up to 10 centimeters long. This matters enormously for sex positions. And here's why. A landmark study published in the Journal of Sex and Marital Therapy in 2017 by researchers Debbie Herbick and her colleagues surveyed over 1,000 women. The results were clear. Only 18% of women reported that intercourse alone was sufficient for orgasm. The remaining majority needed direct or indirect clitoral stimulation. Another pivotal piece of research, the OMG study, which surveyed over 20,000 women, found that the type, location, pressure, and consistency of stimulation are all critical variables in whether a woman reaches orgasm. So, what does all of this mean for sex positions? It means that the positions that are most likely to help a woman orgasm are the ones that either through direct touch, body angle, or friction provide consistent stimulation to the clitoris, not just penetration, not just depth, clitoral engagement. There's also something called the urethral sponge, or G-spot, an area of tissue on the anterior wall of the vagina that for many women, when stimulated through specific angles of penetration, can create intense sensation and sometimes orgasm. This area is believed to be connected to the internal clitoral structure. And then there's arousal itself. Research from Dr. Nan Wise and her team using fMRI brain imaging shows that female orgasm involves the entire nervous system. It's not just physical. Emotional safety, mental presence, stress levels, and comfort all affect whether a woman can reach climax. This is why the best position in the world won't work if she's anxious, distracted, or uncomfortable. We'll come back to that. But first, let me make something very clear, and I want you to really hear this. There is no single position that works for every woman. Bodies are different. Clitoral placement varies. What feels like nothing for one woman might be electric for another. This is not failure. This is biology. And the positions I'm going to share are backed by science as most likely to work, which means they're the best starting points. But experimentation, communication, and self-knowledge are always going to be your greatest tools. All right, now let's get into the 4 positions. I'm going to break each one down, what it is, why it works anatomically, what the research says, and how to optimize it. The first position, and arguably the most scientifically supported for female orgasm, is woman on top, sometimes called cowgirl. Why it works. Here's why this position is so powerful. The woman controls everything. She controls the angle. She controls the depth. She controls the rhythm. She controls the pressure. And when it comes to orgasm, control is everything because she can position herself so that her clitoral area is directly in contact with her partner's body, creating that critical friction. In the woman on top position, the woman can lean forward slightly, what some researchers call the anterior tilt, which brings the clitoris into direct contact with the partner's pubic bone. That rhythmic friction, when maintained consistently, is one of the most reliable pathways to clitoral orgasm during intercourse. What the research says, a study published in Sexual Medicine found that women in positions where they had more control over pelvic movement reported significantly higher orgasm frequency than women in positions where their partner controlled the movement. Women on top ranked highest. Additionally, research from the Kinsey Institute has shown that in women on top positions, women are more likely to engage in dual stimulation, meaning both vaginal and clitoral stimulation simultaneously, which dramatically increases orgasm likelihood. How to optimize it? Let me give you some very specific practical tips. First, lean forward rather than sitting upright. Sitting fully upright places the emphasis on depth, which feels good but doesn't create clitoral contact. Leaning forward changes the angle completely and brings your clitoris into the equation. Second, think of it as a grinding motion rather than up and down. Many women find that a slow, circular, or back and forth grinding motion where the clitoris maintains sustained contact with the partner's body is far more effective than traditional thrusting. Consistent stimulation is what matters. Third, don't be afraid to use your hand or a small vibrator simultaneously. There is nothing, I repeat, nothing wrong or unusual about adding manual stimulation in this position. Research shows women who use additional clitoral stimulation during intercourse orgasm at rates nearly 3 times higher than those who don't. Fourth, communicate. Tell your partner to stay still if that's what you need. You're in control here. Own it. A word of encouragement. That for some women, being on top feels vulnerable or even performative, like you're being watched or evaluated. I hear that, but I want to gently reframe it. Woman on top is not a performance for your partner. It is your position. It was literally designed by your body for your pleasure. And learning to claim that space slowly at your own pace is one of the most powerful things you can do for your sexual health. The second position is one that has its own scientific research paper, and I love it for that reason. It's called the coital alignment technique, or CAT for short. It's a modification of the classic missionary position, and it was specifically designed to maximize clitoral stimulation during intercourse. The history. The CAT was developed in the late 1980s by sex researcher Edward Eichel, who published a study showing that this specific modification of missionary significantly increased orgasm rates in women compared to standard missionary, and the reason is elegant anatomically speaking why it works. In standard missionary, the partner's pelvis thrusts into the woman, primarily providing deep vaginal stimulation, but with very little clitoral contact. The bodies aren't aligned in a way that creates friction where women actually need it. The clitoral alignment technique solves this by having the penetrating partner shift their entire body upward by about 4 to 6 in so that the base of their penis or pelvic bone is riding directly over the clitoris. Instead of in and out, thrusting, both partners engage in a rocking motion, a synchronized rhythm where the woman pushes upward and the partner rocks downward, creating sustained pressure and friction on the clitoris with every movement. What the research says. Eichel's original study found that women using the KET technique were significantly more likely to report orgasm during intercourse than those using standard missionary. A follow-up study published in Journal of Sex and Marital Therapy confirmed these findings. The reason this works neurologically is that the sustained rhythmic pressure on the clitoris mimics the type of stimulation that most women report as the most effective for orgasm: slow, consistent, and localized. It's not about intensity, it's about consistency, how to optimize it. Here are my clinical recommendations for making the cat as effective as possible. Step 1. Partner shifts up. The penetrating partner moves their body forward and upward until their pelvic bone is positioned directly above the woman's clitoris. This takes some adjustment and communication. Get comfortable trying it together. Step 2. Change the motion. Forget thrusting. Replace it with a gentle synchronized rocking. Think of it like two bodies breathing together, one rock up, one rock down. The woman can place her legs straight and relatively together, which slightly tightens the vaginal canal and increases that pressure on the clitoral area. Step 3. Go slowly. The cat does not work at high speed. It is a slow, deliberate, sustained technique. Many couples find it surprisingly intimate, almost meditative. That's actually part of why it works. Slower movement gives the nervous system time to build arousal, which is essential for female orgasm. Step 4. Maintain continuous contact. This is critical. The goal is to never lose contact with the clitoris throughout the movement. Once you break that rhythm, you reset the arousal buildup. Keep it steady. A word about missionary. I want to say something about missionaries that many women might need to hear. Missionary has been written off in popular culture as the boring position. But here's what I know as a clinician. When done correctly with this modification, it's one of the reliable positions for female orgasm because it allows for full body contact, face-to-face emotional connection, and sustained rhythmic stimulation. For women whose orgasm is tied to emotional intimacy, this is especially powerful. Never let anyone tell you a position is too basic for you to enjoy. Your pleasure is valid no matter how you get there. The third position is one that many women have mixed feelings about, and I completely understand why. Rear entry, commonly called doggy style, can feel impersonal, uncomfortable, or even painful for some women. But when modified correctly, it is one of the most powerful positions for G-spot stimulation. And for many women, it's the key to a completely different kind of orgasm. Why it works, here's the anatomy. In rear entry positioning, the penetrating partner enters at an angle that naturally directs the penis or toid through anterior wall of the vagina. That's the front wall, the area closest to the belly button. And that anterior wall, that's where the G-spot lives. The G-spot, or what researchers increasingly call the anterior vaginal wall erogenous zone, is a region of dense erectile-like tissue that is connected to the internal clitoral structure. When properly stimulated, it can produce intense orgasms for many women, often described as deeper, more full-body, and different in quality from clitoral orgasms. What the research says? Research published in Clinical Anatomy by Dr. Helen O'Connell, who was one of the first researchers to fully map the clitoral structure using MRI, confirms that the G-spot response is neurologically connected to clitoral tissue. This means G-spot orgasms and clitoral orgasms are not entirely separate phenomena. They share neural pathways. A study in the Journal of Sexual Medicine found that women who reported G-spot sensitivity were more likely to achieve orgasm in positions with upward angled penetration, which is precisely what rear entry can provide, depending on how it's modified, how to optimize it. The standard hands and knees position isn't always ideal for G-spot targeting. Let me walk you through the modifications that make a real difference. Modification 1, the flat doggy. Instead of being on hands and knees, lie completely flat on your stomach, belly down. This changes the entire angle of penetration and naturally directs stimulation toward the anterior wall. Many women find this subtle shift enormously effective. Your partner can use a pillow under your hips to fine-tune the angle. Modification 2, the pillow prop. If you prefer the traditional position, place 1 or 2 firm pillows under your hips. This elevates the pelvis and changes the angle of entry, again, directing stimulation more precisely toward the G-spot area. Modification 3, shoulders down. In the standard position, try lowering your chest toward the mattress while keeping your hips high, sometimes called the arched variation. This creates a pronounced angle that many women find incredibly effective for G-spot stimulation. Modification 4, add external stimulation. Here's where it gets really good. Because your hands are free in this position, or your partner's hands are free, adding simultaneous clitoral stimulation while achieving G-spot penetration gives you the best possible chance of reaching orgasm. Dual stimulation, internal G-spot and external clitoral, is associated with the most intense and reliable orgasms in women, according to multiple studies. Important comfort notes. If rear entry is painful for you, and I want to acknowledge that it genuinely can be, especially at deep penetration angles, please do not push through pain. Pain during sex is a signal from your body that something needs adjusting. It might be the angle, the depth, the level of arousal, or it could indicate an underlying condition like endometriosis or vaginismus, which are very real and very treatable. If pain is a recurring issue for you, please reach out to a healthcare provider. You deserve to feel good. For women who have a partner who thrusts deeply in this position and it's uncomfortable, communication is your best tool. You're absolutely allowed to say less deep or slower, please. A partner who respects you will adjust without question. And our fourth position is one that doesn't get nearly enough credit in conversations about female orgasm. It's the spooning position, and it might just be the most underrated sexual position for women who are either building toward their first orgasm with a partner or who struggle with anxiety or discomfort during sex. Why it works: spooning, where both partners lie on their sides facing the same direction with the penetrating partner entering from behind, combines several things that research shows are powerful for female orgasm. First, it's deeply comfortable and low pressure. There's no weight on the woman, no awkward angles to maintain, and no performance pressure. Both partners are relaxed, often wrapped in physical closeness. Second, and critically, it leaves both the woman's hands and the partner's hands completely free. That means clitoral stimulation can be easily added, which we know from the research dramatically increases orgasm likelihood. Third, the angle of penetration in spooning is similar to modified rear entry. It's angled toward the anterior vaginal wall, offering G-spot stimulation. And fourth, perhaps most importantly for many women, it is intimate. Face contact isn't there, but full body contact is. The partner's breath is on your neck. Their arms are around you. You feel held, safe, and present. And as I mentioned earlier, psychological safety is not separate from female orgasm. It is part of it. What the research says, research on sexual satisfaction in long-term couples consistently finds that women who report feeling emotionally safe and connected to their partner have significantly higher rates of orgasm than women who feel disconnected or anxious. A study in Archives of Sexual Behavior noted that emotional intimacy was one of the strongest predictors of orgasm consistency in women in committed relationships. The spooning position, perhaps more than any other, combines physical stimulation with emotional intimacy, making it uniquely suited for women who are working on rebuilding intimacy, recovering from sexual anxiety, or simply craving closeness alongside pleasure. How to optimize it? Tip 1. The woman should guide the partner's hand to her clitoris. This is the single most impactful modification. Don't assume your partner knows exactly where or how to touch. Take their hand, place it, show them the pressure and rhythm that works for you. Tip 2. Experiment with your top leg. Raising or lowering your top leg changes the angle of penetration significantly. Some women place their top leg over their partner's hip, which opens the angle. Others keep both legs together, which tightens sensation. Try both. Tip 3. Use a slim vibrator. Spooning is a beautiful position for incorporating a small vibrator because there's space and both hands are accessible. If you use one, position it between your legs where it can provide consistent clitoral vibration while your partner moves. Tip 4. Slow down. Spooning doesn't call for fast or forceful movement. The beauty of this position is in the slow, rocking rhythm, deep, consistent, unhurried. Let your nervous system settle in. Let arousal build gradually. Tip 5. Breathe together. This sounds simple, but it's powerful. Synchronizing your breathing with your partners during spooning can deepen your sense of connection and presence, which directly supports the nervous system conditions for orgasm. Before I wrap up, I want to address a few things I hear from patients that I think many of you might be thinking right now. What if none of these positions have worked for me? That's okay. First, it's worth asking, have you tried them with clitoral stimulation added? Have you been fully aroused before starting? Are you in a situation where you feel safe, comfortable, and free of anxiety? These factors matter as much as position, and some women find that orgasm takes practice, not because anything is broken, but because the nervous system needs to learn pathways through positive repetition. I feel like it takes too long. Research shows the average time for women to reach orgasm through manual stimulation is around 13 minutes. Intercourse alone averages much shorter. There is nothing wrong with taking time. In fact, research suggests that longer arousal periods are associated with more intense orgasms. Slow is not a problem. Slow is the point. What if I've never had an orgasm at all? You are not alone. This is called primary anorgasmia, and it affects a significant percentage of women. It is absolutely treatable through self-exploration, therapy, and education. I would gently encourage you to start with solo exploration using the knowledge from this video before adding a partner into the mix. Understanding your own body first gives you a tremendous advantage. Is it normal to need a vibrator? Yes. Full stop. Research shows that over half of women use vibrators and report higher rates of sexual satisfaction as a result. A vibrator is not a replacement for your partner. It's a tool the same way reading glasses are a tool. There's nothing wrong with using what works for your body. Today we covered 4 science-backed positions for female orgasm. Number 1, woman on top because it gives you full control over clitoral contact and angle. Number 2, the coital alignment technique, the modified missionary that was literally designed by researchers to maximize clitoral stimulation during intercourse. Number 3, modified rear entry for powerful G-spot stimulation, especially when combined with external clitoral touch. And number 4, spooning for intimate, low-pressure dual stimulation that works with your nervous system rather than against it. But more than any position, what I want you to walk away with today is this: you deserve pleasure. Your orgasm matters. Your body is not broken. The gap between where you are now and where you want to be is not a gap in your ability. It's a gap in information. And that gap is closing right now today because you chose to educate yourself. That takes courage. And I am genuinely proud of you for being here. If this video helped you even a little, please give it a like so that other women can find it. Leave me a comment below. Tell me which position you're going to try first, or ask me a question you've been too nervous to ask elsewhere. This is a safe space, and I read every comment. And if you want more science-based conversations about intimacy, sexual health, and relationships, subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss a video. Every week, I'm here with information your body and your relationship deserve. I'm Dr. Laya Romano. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. Take care of yourself and take care of each other. I'll see you in the next